1. Hello everyone and welcome back again for our continuing series on the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And we've got a great continuing series call lined up for you. Our next speaker is a very good friend of mine. He and his wife are friends of my wife and myself, so we've had the pleasure of spending time in his lovely home there in Florida. Now, Dr. Fran is a retired dental specialist with over 35 years of success in relationship marketing. He has reached the top ranks in 4 companies, building teams of hundreds of thousands of people during his career, and thrives on helping his team members achieve success. He has also served on associate advisory boards and medical advisory boards in the industry and has been a sought-after presenter, trainer, motivator, coach, mentor, and is a $1 million plus earner in the industry. Now, his wisdom when it comes to the areas of business and marketing is what I look to and rely on every day, and you are in for a real treat tonight as he takes us through the 21 Laws of Leadership series. He often calls me the Wizard of Oz, but I call him the Wizard of Wise, so I'm going to bring on Doc Fran. Doc Fran, you there?
I am, Casper, and thank you for those very warm words of introduction. And it really is doubly pleasant coming from you. You are a leader that exemplifies all of these characteristics of successful leadership, and it's a real pleasure to serve with you and under you to help grow our companies and our teams.
Thank you.
And good evening, everyone. I'm delighted to see so many of you have come out again to wrap up our series on leadership with us and attend this wonderful training that Casper provides for us all. And we're training on the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell, arguably the top leader and author in the leadership arena. And tonight we're doing law number 20, and could we have the first slide, Casper, please? Law 20, folks, is the law of explosive growth. And the tagline is, to add growth, lead followers. To multiply, lead leaders. And this is really the essence of this law. You know, we all love it. There's an adage that says that the excitement is directly proportional to the speed of particle flow. And nothing is truer. How many of you have experienced where your organization suddenly begins to grow at an increasing rate, and a very rapid rate, maybe something faster than you've ever experienced before? I've had the privilege and the pleasure of going through those growth curves, and it really is fun. And I want to tell you a little story again about traditional business and a traditional business leader that will exemplify and identify the factors involved in the law of explosive growth. Now, in 1984, at the age of 22, a young gentleman named John Schnatter started his own business. And he began selling pizzas out of a converted broom closet at Mick's Tavern, a lounge that was co-owned by his father. The very next year, he opened his first store next to Mick's in Jeffersonville, Indiana, and he named that store Papa John's. By the beginning of 1991, John Schnatter had 46 stores. Now, many of us would consider that to be a total success story, and we'd have been very happy to stop there and manage that industry. But what happened in the next couple of years is even more remarkable. By the end of 1991, the number of stores that John Schnatter had doubled to more than 110. By 92, it doubled again to 220. And the growth has continued dramatically. By early 1998, that number had surpassed 1,600 Papa John stores. Now, folks, what made that company suddenly experience such an incredible period of rapid expansion? Well, you may guess that the answer is found in the law of explosive growth. Slide 2, Casper. Now, Schnatter had always hired good people for his staff, But in the early years, he was really the sole leader and the primary driving force behind the business's success. But in the 1980s, he didn't dedicate enough time to developing other strong leaders. It's taking a lot of growing on my part, said Schnatter of Papa John's success. Between 26 and 32 years of age, the hardest thing I had, a lot of John Schnatters around me, people with great potentials who needed to be mentored. They needed a lot of coaching, but I was so busy developing myself, trying to get myself to the next level, that I didn't have time to develop any of those people. And you know, guys, as a result, I lost them. Think back over your experience in our industry, folks. How many times have you had what you didn't recognize at the time or didn't have the time to invest in a partner that came into your team who subsequently left and went on and became a fabulous leader in his own right in another company? So that really taught me that it's really one of my most important jobs is to build the people who are going to build my company and my businesses. And that's much harder for most people. And it was much harder in the beginning than it is as you go through your personal development curve. Next slide, Casper. Now, Schnatter's making significant progress in his own leadership development was opening the door for him to attract better leaders to the company and to give them the time they needed. Remember the law of attraction, guys, from our earlier trainings. And that's when he really started recruiting some of the people who currently lead the company today, including a gentleman named Wade Oney, who's now the company's CEO. Now, that's together, John and Wade started talking about what it would take to be capable of opening 400 to 500 new restaurants a year. And that is when they began to focus their total attention on developing leaders so that they could take the company to the next level. They discovered early that the key is to develop leaders. And to do that, you do it by building up people within your organization. Next slide, please. Now, John Schnatter and Wade Oney have succeeded because they practice the law of explosive growth. Any leader who does that makes the shift from followers math to what I call leaders math. Now, leaders who develop followers grow their organizations one person at a time. But leaders who develop leaders multiply their growth because for every leader they develop, they receive all of that leader's followers. And folks, that's the powerful difference between addition and multiplication. To go to the highest levels, you have to develop leaders of leaders. Next slide, Casper. Becoming a leader who develops leaders requires an entirely different focus and attitude from those of a developer of followers. And the next slide, Casper. You can just fill this in as we go here. And what I've listed here are some of the attributes of leaders who develop followers versus leaders who develop leaders. And developing leaders is difficult because potential leaders are harder to find and attract. They're also harder to hold on to once you find them because unlike followers, they are energetic and entrepreneurial, and they tend to want to go their own way. Developing leaders is hard work, guys. Leadership development isn't an add water and stir proposition. It takes a tremendous amount of time, energy, and resources. Now, if you look down through this list of attributes, you'll notice the difference. And I want you to look at these with a critical eye and look at yourself to see which of these areas do you focus on. Do you focus on a need to be needed? Or do you focus on a need to be succeeded? Do you focus on the weaknesses of your followers? Do you focus on their strengths? Do you develop the bottom 20% or the top 20%? Do you treat all people the same way for fairness, or do you treat leaders as individuals for impact? Do you hoard your power, or do you give power away to your leadership and your team? Do you spend time with others, or do you invest time in others? Do you grow by addition, or do you grow by multiplication and exponential growth? Do you impact only people that you touch personally, or are you able to have an impact on people far beyond your immediate circle of contact? As you develop an acknowledgement and an awareness of those characteristics in yourself, you can see the key areas that each of us has to work on continuously to move ourselves from a leader who develops followers to a leader of leaders. Now, I don't know where you are in your journey of leadership development. You may be working on your leadership growth, or you may already be a highly developed leader in your own right. But no matter where you are, in one thing, you will go to the highest level of your capabilities only if you begin developing leaders instead of followers. The only way to experience an explosive level of growth is to do the math, and by that I mean the leader's math. And that is, folks, the incredible power of the law of explosive growth. For success, and I turn the call back over to Casper.
Hey, Dr. Pran, appreciate it again. All right, folks, man, this is very exciting stuff, and we're coming to the end of our series here, but let's go ahead and continue on the series, and we'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye for now.